how's the week going? How's the week going?
I think it just started, right? So Monday.
Oftentimes I don't remember.
And by the way, happy Indigenous People Day today.
Thank you.
It has officially been changed over, at least in some states from what I'm aware, from Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. So
Good.
It was about time.
For real.
About time.
Actually, yeah, this caused me a problem because as most folks know, Mar and I are in Canada, and people are like, oh, happy Thanksgiving. I was like, nah, I can't wish you Thanksgiving anymore. And the worst thing is people who like no shade, speaking of shade, which we'll get there, people are like, oh, happy Thanksgiving, but you're an Indigenous ally. And I was like, I'm just realizing they don't connect. So no more Thanksgiving. I'm thankful to be an ally to the Indigenous community. That's about it.
I love it.
That's my new thing because my grandmother's like, happy Thanksgiving. And I'm like, I'm thankful for you, Nanny.
I think for some of us, we're still, saying happy Thanksgiving. It's hard to break that tradition. It's like Happy Canada Day. Some people don't want to dismiss those celebrations. It doesn't mean that you can't change the definition of them, though, right?
But I think Thanksgiving has changed its definition. Most people don't realize it's about Indigenous massacres. Most people have now changed it into being thankful to be with their friends and family, especially given the 2 years of the pandemic where we were just thankful to have masks and be able to breathe. So I understand the transition. So that's what I'm saying. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place because I was like, no, I'm usually the serial texter who's like, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And this year it's like radio silent. I'm not in it.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be like a way. I mean, I agree. Like the ceremony of like just being thankful. We should be thankful every day, but it's awesome that we have that. But you're right. The attachment to the massacres and everything that came with it that was so vile. In the U.S., it being Columbus Day and how they celebrated pretty much a monster. I mean, let's just call him what it was. But yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway, guys, I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful
always
for the show.
Thankful for you, ladies.
I'm thankful.
You're thankful. So this episode is all about shadiness, toxicity, whether you can tell the truth to someone who deserves to hear it or not.
And I have to say, this is inspired by the Real Housewives of Potomac. So shout out to Robin and Giselle, which we will tag you in this episode because they have a podcast called Reasonable Shady. And they invited all the other ladies and gave scenarios. And they had to decide whether it was shady or reasonable shady. And I am a big fan of reality TV. Don't ask. And I was like, wouldn't it be interesting for us to break down if lying is a necessary evil? I wonder about that because I don't think you can get away from the fact that a lie is a lie, but it's the purpose of the lie, right? And so I'm struggling with this a bit because I think on some levels we lie every day, whether it's to ourselves or when I lie to parents and say, your kid will get it. Don't worry. It just takes an extra couple stuff. Right?
But, no.
I don't know. Is lying just part of, I don't know. Like, is it possible to be brutally honest, ladies? Like, okay, maybe not brutally.
It is possible, but I think what the biggest struggle is having a little bit, it's basically the delivery and how you deliver the truth to somebody and, make it as painless as possible. And you also need to be able to gauge whether they are sensitive, their degrees of sensitivity, whether you can really be brutally honest with them or not. It's tough. It really depends on who the recipient is of that truth.
So you're saying that truth. So you're saying then lying is not necessary then because it's just about the conditions
I'm
of
saying that lying
telling.
is possible. I understand that it can be necessary in certain situations.
Right.
If someone's on their deathbed and they want to know that someone else is still alive but they aren't, you should lie to them. Lie to them and give them the opportunity to fight to stay alive. just because, that's not the kind of news you want to deliver to someone on their deathbed.
And I suppose the other thing I want to hear from the viewers is absence of admitting also a lie, like omission? Is that lying too?
I personally think that's a lie. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a lie. But you know what, Nesha, you just mentioned that we all do it all the time. And we actually do. If you think about it, and let's say I call you Nesha and I'm like, hey, are you busy? What would you say? How often do I call you? If I call you and I'm just like, hey, Nesha, you busy?
Well, I'm probably busy, but I probably am busy, but I'll be like, yo, what's up? I probably will say that. Yo, what's up, Oz? Yeah, I'm busy, but what's up? Talk to me. I'm weird like that.
So no, that's not weird. That's good, because I, on the other hand, would not want to make you or somebody else feel some kind of way if I haven't heard from them in a while and they're reaching out. They're like, hey, you busy? I'd be like, not good. What's good? Talk to me.
But that's because the person is reaching out to you. It's signaling that something's up.
But I'm saying, though, here's a scenario where I have told a small lie. Like, I'm busy, but I'm not going to tell you I'm busy because I don't want to make you feel some kind of way about contacting me. That's just one example of like a small lie that we might say during the day.
We lie to ourselves a lot, though. But is that because we don't want to be mirrors, or we don't want to face the truth? I don't know. It's interesting to me. Lying is very interesting to me because I'm not sure if I agree that if I don't say something, it's a lie.
Well, hold on. Let's break down what a lie is, because I went through this internet rabbit hole doing some research, guys. So bear with me.
Put your hat on.
First of all, I want to say that children start lying as early as age 2. So there's an evidence of lies starting at age 2.
Trifling kids, right?
But they're more purposeful with their lies at age 4 or 5, because lying actually requires a lot more cognitive resources than telling the truth. Lying is a very proactive thing that we do, and it requires a whole thought process, actually. So when we start to lie, first of all, we have to understand, at first we have to suppress the truth. That's an active thing. We're going to suppress the truth. Then we have to look at the observable facts and see what would be believable that would go with the observable facts that we're going to lie about. This is a whole process, guys.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
And then while we're telling the lie, we have to actually assess the reaction of the person who is the recipient of the lie. So we have to make sure they're following, are they believing the lie? Like, we have to be in tune with that as well, and we have to be able to pivot if by any chance they look like they're not really about this life.
Receptive of what you're telling them.
Right. And then there's the ethical dimension. We have to think about, is this how, like, internally we have this battle where, hey, how bad is this lie? Am I okay with myself telling this lie? And actually, the more you lie, the better you get at it. So, and all of this happens in the frontal cortex, right? And this is the area of the brain that is responsible for executive control, planning, and regulating emotions and behavior. And I found something really funny while I was doing this research. There was a guy called Mr. Pinocchio who had a tumor in a specific area of his brain that every time he lied, he would have like an epileptic seizure.
Wow.
And it was like, I'm sorry, it's funny. It's not funny for him. And he actually couldn't get his job done because it was required sometimes to, be able to not tell the absolute truth. And so he had surgery and they removed the tumor and apparently it got all better. But I think that's kind of funny. But anyway, so just to say, it just takes a lot more to lie than it does to tell the truth. And yet we do it.
And yet we do it. I think the part that, and then if you add on the layer of religiosity, right? Like people who believe in God. Because for me, I'm always like, man, like if I do this, what am I getting? What is God sending my way? That's my first question in my head.
Yeah, you're worried about karma immediately.
Man, listen, I'm worried about all of that. I'm like, what blessing am I going to miss? Like, I'm actually calculating like shit. I think about it often. But okay. So we now know that lying takes effort, which I understand. I mean, like everyone knows I'm a teacher. I've watched kids bold-face lie to me when I know the truth. And then I'm an instigator. So I'll ask questions and then let the lie elaborate like a snowball. And then I'm like, burst it, like, got you. Like, I'm a real evil teacher like that, right? I wait and wait and wait, and then it's poof. And they're like, but miss. So I understand it is methodical. It definitely has to be methodical. But what about the emotional reasons behind lying? Like, you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or
you don't want to face the negative consequences.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a big one.
Yeah. I mean, I think my husband lies to me sometimes. I think men lie to their wives, or partners lie to their partners. Do I look good in this?
All the time.
Of course you look good.
Right? That's another one. How do I look in this outfit? Like, yeah, you look great, honey. Like, do you want to fight? Do you want to fight? Like, that becomes...
But then that's a problem with us, right? Why can't I take... So the better question of the flip side of the lie is, why can't we take the truth, or why can't we take honesty from that person's perception, right? Like, if I ask you a question and you tell me something, why do I have to like try again, like in a game, so I can get the answer I want, as opposed
because
to
you're
the
sensitive.
No, I'm mad sensitive. They have a whole thing on sensitivity. I am mad sensitive.
Right.
But it's interesting. So what about you, Mar? By the way, I'm a full-fledged, I've told a lie. I'm not a full-fledged liar. I've told a lie. And I mean, I
used to be a liar. I lied a lot as a kid, and it was really to get it. I lied so I can get away from the ass whoopings that I got as a kid. That's really what I was lying for.
That's a defense mechanism right there. You have to.
So is that lying then?
To save my backside.
So is that lying, or is that self-preservation?
It's still lying, but it's also self-preservation too. And my problem was growing up is that I had a difficult time not continuing to lie, even after I was out of that environment where I was suffering all those ass whoopings, because it was just, that was what I learned during my formative years, is that if I didn't want to get in trouble, I have to tell the other person what they want to hear in order to not experience the consequences. It took a lot to change that behavior. It was really a lot, but it's almost like to the extreme end right now, where I tell the truth a little too much.
Well, that goes to show, though, that, you know, with practice, you know, like therapy, the more you lie, but I'm saying the more you lied, the more you got away with it, the more you felt, you know, it just became a little bit more natural to do. So you had to work against it.
I didn't always get away with it. I just, you know, even when I knew that I did something wrong, I still lied, because I figured if I tell this lie, I won't get the ass whooping, but I still got it. You know what I mean?
Man.
And I can say that as someone who's a sociable introvert. You know, one of the biggest struggles that I have is being able to explain to someone why I want to, you know, cancel our plans. You know, all those memes that go around, you know, about introverts, and, you know, like the one of Skeletor sitting on his couch, lying on his couch with his cat, you know, showing him with a glass of wine, and the caption being, you know, me when my friends cancel on Friday night. That is definitely me. But it's you know, when your friends are not canceling and they want you to come out and you don't want to come out, you have to find an excuse to give them. And I just don't want to hang out is not good enough for some people. I guess.
Shit.
You know?
We need to put that in our repertoire. If Mar doesn't says she doesn't want to hang out with us,
I'm just, you know, I'm an introvert. That's how I am. I want to hang, but I want to hang with people I know and trust and love. And, you know, it's hard for me to open up to new people, which is, I'm just going to be very real here. It explains why I've gone back to like old boyfriends over and over and over again. I like what I know and trust, you know, even if it is toxic, I know what I'm getting. So, you know,
no new friends. No new friends.
No new friends. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my
Drake and
God.
I were like one.
So there's some messy truths and some messy lies for us today. I think I might be a lie of omission. I don't like to hurt people's feelings. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I'm always lying to Peter to pay Paul, some kind of craziness. Like I'm always I think it might be part of my job skill set too, where I'm always craftily my statements and what I'm gonna say. And honestly, now that you mention it psychologically, Oz, it's tiring. It's exhausting after telling people like finding ways of telling the truth without dropping the shoe. But I think maybe I lie by omission. Like I don't want people to know everything. So
Yep.
I just don't I and also I've had bad experiences with telling the truth. Like I had a friend who married the devil and
Wow.
yeah, he was a straight devil, dude. And we had saw him in the club and he was macking on a chick and we went back and told her and she didn't believe us. And
Oh,
I was like, I felt this overwhelming desire to not filter. To not
Yep.
filter. I couldn't I don't know. It just like the truth was just bursting out of me like a sunbeam. I couldn't stop saying like how much of a loser.
how did she take that?
Oh, it didn't go well. It really seriously affected our friendship to this day. And part of that problem is me. No, yeah, it is me because I realized as a child, you know, your family is your family, right? That's your foundation. But then your friends are the people you choose. And that
Mm-hmm.
selection process of choosing for me is very deep. I mean, both of you know me quite well, but I'm very loyal. I remember things, I like the details. I'm one of those very, like, I put a lot of effort into my friendships. And when I got you, I'm like a love bug. I'm loyal as hell. I'm not going to jail or killing people for you, but just below that, I'm very loyal. So when someone breaks the loyalty, it's very hard for me to mend it. It's very difficult. And even though, you know, there's that Japanese proverb where you can mend broken things with gold and it looks beautiful, I'm not even at that intellectual level. So when I was telling homegirl, like, you're marrying the devil, he's cheating, he's doing all these things, he's a horrible human. What are you doing? To the point where he cheated on her. And I said, well, why would you go back? You're dumb. Like, these are really bad things. And if right, no, because I was like, what are you doing? And when I was participating in that person's wedding, I said, you know, I gotta pray to God because I don't know if I can stand there in front of God and be good with this. That's how honest I was. And then I prayed to God and I said, you know what, God, let it be what it be, but just absolve me from this. Because you know, when you're in a Christian wedding and you have witnesses there, your congregation, the people there are your witnesses to support that marriage. And I knew I wasn't going in there supporting the marriage. So I needed some absolution from that responsibility. And I remember I remember there was a time where her ex-husband, like, she got rid of the devil, thank God. And he talked shit about me and she didn't defend me. And I found out because she
Oh
lied.
no.
It broke that incredible level of loyalty that I give to the friend. And I know that we've been chasing that high ever since.
Mm.
But the problem is not her, it's me. It's me. I'm the one who can't.
It's a forgiveness issue.
I forgive her, yo. I forgive. I love that girl. I love her, but I don't trust her with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, I don't trust you to
Yeah.
have my back when my eyes are closed, and that's a
Mhm.
problem for me. So I I don't think I've ever been that level of honest again, because I guess I've just found ways of making it appetizing now versus saying, nah, bro, you marrying the devil straight up. And when that marriage broke apart, I mean, I could have done hula hoop dancing, but I actually went down and like helped her rebuild her life. And you know, she's happily remarried now. We're cool, but we're just not where we used to be. And it's
Mm.
sad. It's mad sad, but it's partially due to the fact that when I was straight up giving you 100% of my honesty, maybe I didn't package it right, but I had your back and you didn't have mine. So now I'm a bit more dainty around the scenario. But that situation changed me. I'm never that honest as I used to be, which is, I suppose, sad on some levels.
Well, I don't think it's sad at all.
Yeah, I think we also have to use our discretion when we're being honest. That's less of like a lie as it is, but I guess it is. We talked about a mission, and would that be a mission? You witnessed something that you knew was bad for your friend, but some people are just not ready for that conversation, girl. Most people are not, especially with relationships, bros. And I've been there. I've been with the wrong guy, and I'm sure my friends looked at me crazy, and I didn't want to hear it at the time, right? But maybe I would have benefited from a sit down and, hey, bitch, what are you doing? But I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I would have just been like, yo, this is my life. Let me live. But another interesting thing about lying is that you got to remember, girl, there's a lot of work you have to remember. You have to, not only are you lying, now you got to rely on your memory to remember what the fuck you said. So that's the whole other thing about lying.
Thank goodness I have a good memory.
It's exhausting though. I mean, listen, you have a good memory, but as we get older and our brains are filled up with more and more shit, we start forgetting the random stuff. And I promise you those lies are one of the things that we're going to start forgetting. And if it ever comes up in the future, we're going to be like, God damn, what did I say? What did I say?
What's done in the dark, right, must come to light. And at some point, I wonder if lies also have expiration dates, right? Because after a while, you're like, fuck it. I don't care if you knew I lied. I don't like you anyways. Like, there's some people in the city of Montreal that I'm like, I don't care if you know I don't like you. Now I don't even hide it. Before I would be diplomatic, which I also find as a form of lying, by the way. Being diplomatic to me is a form of lying because you're not being your true self in the scenario. And now when I see certain people, I'm like, I don't like you and I don't want to hide it. And I just go about my day. I'm cordial. I'm like, hello. And then I move along. But no, as I get older, I can see it now. My mother doesn't lie. She doesn't care. My grandmother certainly doesn't lie. They don't care.
We know all about Mama Ross. You've told us many things about her.
We went to the store was it yesterday? I was like, yes, we went to Old Navy. Poor Old Navy. Shout out to Old Navy in LaSalle. I'm sorry. We went to Old Navy and the woman was giving me bad service. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Because I'm trying to move it along. I got to go get my eyelashes done. And my mom's like, don't lie. It's not okay. What you're doing is horrible. I don't know how you're sitting here getting paid minimum wage. I was like, oh my God. I was lying to save you from my mother. And instead, you ended up getting this whole tongue lashing from my mother. So I think I'm a protective liar. This could be a problem.
So it's interesting that you bring up the mom thing, because my mother the lying thing was the worst offense that we could ever do in the house. I mean, like, if she caught us in a lie, we would be like punished for what we did, and on top of that, punished for the lie. So that was just one thing, that was just unacceptable.
You got the double licks.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't get beat really, but my mom had other ways of getting us, in check.
Ozzy was good. I got beat with whatever was around, like tattoo, hair, tongue, hair combs, smacked up against my head, whatever. For my mother, the worst offense was spitting. Oh my God. She caught me spitting once. I spit on a boy who bothered me. She beat the shit out of me. She beat the shit out of me. She not like the shit like Black and Blue, but she slapped me right in my mouth. She's like, that's the most disgusting thing you can ever do to someone.
Oh, yeah.
So she's like, don't spit. Your mom. Yeah, she's like, don't spit. But I'm trying to think.
Wait, don't pass over that just yet.
What, the
spitting on another human being?
Tanisha, what?
Oh, he was bothering me.
That is the worst. My mic was muted earlier and I wanted to jump in. I was like, hold on a minute.
Yeah, I did it.
That is bad. That is really bad.
Yeah, I did it. That's part of my honesty. That's my therapy.
Thank God for your mother.
I got slapped in the mouth. I'm sure I have a little dent here from way back when. But no, and the thing is, I try to lie and say he spit on me first. My mom's like, he didn't spit on you first.
No.
You spit on him.
We're not playing spitting games around.
No, and then she just took the backhand, not even the front, right? The back where the fingernails are, and gave me a right boop in my mouth. I was like, yo, but he was bothering me. She's like, I don't care. You don't spit on anyone. You can kick them, punch them, bite them. Don't spit on them.
It's still assault.
Spitting is bad.
It's still assault.
Yeah, but he was bothering me first. I saw him the other day, actually. He waved, so he didn't take that spit too personal.
I guess y'all are all right now.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. I don't care. I spit again at him if he did it again.
But you would not.
Maybe.
Nesha, you didn't learn nothing from that backhand, girl? You didn't learn anything?
I don't know.
So we wanted to actually run down some scenarios to see. So I actually have something in line with what you were talking about, Nesha, about your friend. Okay, so I'm gonna run this by you girls, and you let me know what you would do in this situation.
Yeah.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Your BFF is cheating on her boyfriend of 4 years. You know it, right? You like the boyfriend, right? But your girl is doing her damn thing. The boyfriend calls you to plan a surprise proposal.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
What do you do?
Oh.
Well, I guess my answer is I'm lying because I said it live that I'm loyal. And you said BFF. So you know what I would say? I would say, listen, let me get back to you on some ideals. Let me get back to you on some ideas.
What are we getting back to about?
Yeah, because he wants to plan a surprise proposal. So he's calling me for ideas. I'm going to say, let me get back to you. Let me think about it. That's lie number one. Let me think about it and get back to you. Then I'm going to text homegirl, say, yo, you need to call me now, not ASAP now. And say, yo, homeboy's trying to marry you. And you putting me in uncomfortable positions. You know, it's hard out here for women to catch fish. So make up your mind, do what you got to do, but don't let him embarrass himself and do that. And every time he calls me, you're putting me in your mess. Now, it wasn't my mess when you were doing your thing, but now it's my mess. Don't let that knock on my door again, because I'm going to have to act shady and start a fight with your boyfriend and make him not like me because I got to hold up your back. That's right.
Hold on now. So you'll ruin the surprise.
I have to ruin the surprise.
Okay. That's you're going to tell her, but you're not going to tell him. You're not going to say anything to him.
No, because I have a similar scenario in my life. And as I told my friend's partner, you ain't my girl. That's just what it is. You're not my people's. That person is my people's. Mm-hmm. And it comes with a price. And if that means you think I'm a bitch, so be it. But my loyalty comes with a price. So, and I would do the same for both of you as well. So too bad.
not that either of us would ever be in that scenario.
I don't care.
We don't do that. So Mar, how about you?
I am kind of in Nesha's corner on this one. I am a ride or die, very loyal. So I would probably, oh God, forgive me. I would lie to the boyfriend first. I would basically tell him, look, I'm not the best person to help with planning any of this stuff because I'm actually quite busy. And I'm busy and I have a lot on my plate right now. However, I think there's a couple of people that I think you could call who would be better suited to help with this.
Like your girlfriend's side guy.
And I think they'd probably be better suited to help with planning this party. Then I'd bounce and I'd have the same conversation that Nesha talked about with the friend. I'd basically say, look, on a regular day, I'd mind my own business. Do you, boo? But you're facing consequences now. And I do not want to be brought into this. So you need to make up your mind and figure out what the hell you're doing. The responsibility is then put on your friend, your BFF,
exactly.
Not you.
Miranda made it worse. She threw it onto someone else. Called this person. Oh, Oh,
I know
no.
too much. I know too much. Why would I implicate myself in any of this? I want to be like omitted from this entirely because it's messy. It's hella messy.
It's so messy.
Terrible.
That's why if
Absolutely
you're going to do
terrible.
this dirt, don't get your friend involved. Just don't tell your friends because
Or tell your friends, but
imagine if she didn't
You know.
tell, if you didn't know, and homeboy would have hit you up, and you would have been all up in
Yes.
this, and then like what was she gonna do? Maybe she really just doesn't have feelings for the guy in order to go out and step out on him, which is a whole other show, guys. We need to get into that, but or like, what is she just gonna like say yes to the other guy? What if she says no? Now two people are real fucked up. Like, I mean, just the whole situation is bad.
is there only one side guy, or is there like multiple?
you adding
I'm
in
gonna
other people.
no, that's deep. I'm gonna say one, because that changes the game, right?
Oh, that's different. Yeah.
Right?
If
That's
multiple
different.
guys, you're not serious anyways.
Right.
But if
You're not
it's
ready for
one
this
guy, you're one guy, that's tough.
But what
That's really
if
tough.
what if she's stepping out on homeboy because she loves him in every area, but the lack of sexual satisfaction is not there? No, I'm just
Okay, hold on.
saying.
No, this is a good question.
I can't comment anymore.
No, this is good, Nesha. So hold on. Wait. What if you are armed with that knowledge when he reaches out to you? And here's your opportunity to tell homeboy, listen, this is your perfect partner, but you gotta do this better. Would you take that opportunity to help your sister out? Would you? Yes or no?
I can't tell him that.
Yeah, you can't encourage her to do even worse than she's
yeah,
already doing.
And like, honestly, well, like this is cisgender scenarios, but dudes' egos are real sensitive, and like they mad sensitive, right? They're mad sensitive,
Tell me about
and
it.
I can't tell them like, yo, you got to up your game if you want to put a ring on it. But I mean, that leads us to another lie, which is when your partner is not sexually satisfying you, do you lie about it? Like, shit.
Is that your scenario? Are you
Yes,
putting
that is
out
my
on the
scenario.
table
But
for
you
us?
see, Miranda's trying to leave. We wait
She
for
left.
Miranda to come back because I want to hear everybody's scenario, right? But I mean, let's break that down, right? Like, you know that your partner is sensitive. All right. Oh, you're back. Don't worry. We left that scenario alone.
No, this is a good one. This is a good one. This one's from Miranda.
So
Let's go.
you and your partner are together, right? I don't care.
Okay, wait.
Together,
Hold up.
whatever.
Start this again.
This is Nesha's scenario for us.
You
Mark.
got a partner. I don't care what the gender is of your partner. I don't care. They, thee, him, z, whatever. You got a partner. And you love your partner in all aspects, financially, ambition, good conversation. But when it comes down to the sexual stuff, it's not the greatest. So, do you continue to lie to your partner? Do you step out on your partner? What do you do? Do you lie to your partner and say it's good because you know your partner is sensitive? What do you do?
I think you tell them the truth.
I
Tell
agree.
them the truth. Here's the thing about bad sex. It can be corrected. It can
Amen to
totally be
that.
corrected because it's like with a bunch of other things in life. Weight gain, weight loss, you gain weight, you can lose it. If you're bad at sex, you can learn and become better. It's not like you're destined to be bad at sex for the rest of your life. I think people need to get their minds out of this whole like, oh, I'm not as big as that guy or this or that. Like, don't worry about that. Use the instruments you have unless you are really not blessed by the good Lord. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there's a show I watched. There's a show I watched called Sex Life. And she was writing down about her past sexual experiences with an ex. Her husband read it. That's not your business, bro. You shouldn't be reading people's journals.
Oh, no.
That's why I don't write journals. That's a whole other episode. I don't believe in writing journals. And he started to act out what she was writing, and he got resentful because he was saying like, I'm not enough for you. But she was trying to say like, I need something different in the bedroom, and he was taking it mad personal. So
I think it depends. Like, on, the equipment. If you have decent equipment, it's workable. You can totally work with those circumstances.
If they want to work with
you
it.
gotta find another solution.
Hold on, but that was a major spoiler, by the way, Nesha. Next time you give a little disclaimer.
It's in the first episode.
I've seen the show, but it's terrible, by the way. Awful acting, grade B, but totally addictive. Just bad TV on Netflix, but totally watch it. Watch it when you can. But anyway, the point is that, Mar, to your point, I agree. Not only can you fix it, and not only is there, I don't think there's such a thing as bad sex. I think sex depends on the people who are having it. I feel like somebody can be a good partner to you and be a shitty partner to somebody else. I feel like the chemistry, the connection, what someone likes versus what somebody else likes determines how good the sex is. And I think it is about communication. It is, this is the moment where honesty means everything, right? Because in a relationship, bad sex will become 90% of the relationship, whereas if you have good sex, the sex piece is only about 10% of what the relationship actually, revolves around, right, Mar? We had this conversation. So yeah, I mean, sex is a part of a relationship. There's been lots of research that show that actively having sex with your partner, it makes the relationship better on every other aspect of the relationship in terms of communication and intimacy and just having a healthy relationship. Sex is part of it. That being said, there's a way to say these things, right? You just don't turn around and be like, my man, work on it. This ain't it. You just, you could talk about the things that you like. You can maybe share like pornography that appeals to you. Not to say that there's a lot of pornography that appeals to women out there necessarily. Yeah. There is some, but whatever. But you could really position it with books, with experimenting, and if you're in a relationship with somebody who's super closed-minded to that, then that's a bigger problem. Yeah. It's a bigger issue.
You know what though? Because it's that lie that I'm referring to is a lie that a lot of women are living. The lie of not being able. See, I have this goal is to die with the best sex life ever. Yeah, this is my thing.
That's a pretty good goal.
Yeah, this is my goal, right? So I'm maintaining well. Just for those who are interested in the update, I'm doing well, but I know a lot of women who repress their sexual desires for a number of reasons, and that's lying to yourself, right? We are sexual beings. We enjoy sex. We enjoy intimacy, and I think a lot of women don't own it, right? Like we won't get into that. That's not for this podcast, but there's a lot of women who don't understand their bodies, and that's a lie, right? And so what lie are we telling ourselves that is making us repress a pleasure that was created in us? It's something that bothers me quite a bit. I'm very pro female sexuality in that sense, because dudes get to come. Like we got to work for ours. So why can't we tell our partners and come out of the shadow of that lie and say, yo, I need you to step up because I want to just enjoy this as much as you're enjoying this.
I feel like some of this can be traced back all the way to sex education or lack thereof. Remember we talked about in a previous episode about how our parents, well, Oz and my own guardians and my mother did terrible jobs of speaking to us about sex. They just didn't bring it up at all. And that shapes how you become sexually. I've said it before, I'll say it again. My personal belief is that if you omit this information from your child and don't have any conversations around how sex factors into relationships or marriage or any of those scenarios, whether it be with the same gender or different genders or what have you, you're literally going to have a person who's going to learn about sex from all the wrong places. Sex from other people, probably be easily manipulated, because they don't know how to set boundaries for themselves, So that's actually an area that I think is really important, because if you need to learn how to communicate to the other person, but again, it's about the delivery and giving the other person that information in a way that's palatable for them. And my question to you ladies is, what happens if you've already communicated that the sex is not that great, that there's things that you want to try or things that are not working properly in the bedroom, and your partner is just not measuring up? They're not that they're refusing, but they're really just not doing what they need to be doing.
Then you're back in Ozzy's scenario, which is a problem. I missed it.
It's tough. It's
then
really,
you're back
really
in
tough.
Ozzy's scenario. Because at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself a few questions, right? Does sex make a relationship? Ozzy was saying 90% and 10%. It depends on, like, and that's the lie that, like, you know, I was in a relationship where the sex just wasn't there at all. And I had to leave. I realized, like, I thought I probably could have put up with it for the rest of my life. But I was like, no, I actually don't want to do that. But I think that's what I'm saying. There's that lie that women tell ourselves, that we're receivers and not initiators, or we're not, you know, we're not sexual. And I think, I mean, despite having the mother I have who's super open with everything, I still do, like, look around and see who's looking at me when I'm going into a sex shop, right? I still, and honestly, I actually don't go into sex shops in Montreal because I'm a teacher. I don't want people which is stupid because I teach bloody sex ed.
But that's
society, you don't want the judgment.
That's nuts,
right? Like, I get excited when I'm leaving the city because I'm like, oh, I can get to check out some local shops, whatever. But even when I'm going into a local shop, I'm like, oh, all right. But you know what? I face that fear. I face that, like, no, we're not lying to ourselves. I want to go in. I want to see what's going on. I want to see what's happening. And I bring from some props home, not home, well, home and school. Because some things at school, like, they have different condom sizes and things like that I want to show the kids. But there is a moment, like, you know, I live downtown Montreal. There's that I forget what the store is called, Super Sex, whatever. But I won't go in because I know all the kids are down there. So I'm like, nah.
Super Sex is a strip club.
Okay. I don't remember what it's called. I don't remember. It always has these variations.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, by the Moose Bar. But yeah. I'm like, what's my problem? Right? Like, it's a very strange scenario that I've got going on in my head. But if I'm outside of Montreal, I'm very happy to explore the sex shops and see what's happening. There's some things that are not for me, but I really like to see. Like, I went to Vancouver for 25 days and came home with nipple cream. I was so excited. I was like, woo, exciting. And I thought, it's cool, right? It stimulates you. It tastes good to your partner. It's a win-win for everybody. But I think that's a big lie that we tell ourselves, that we're not sexual beings who want to feel that pleasure. And that's something that bothers me on the lie levels.
In terms of the you know, having the sex issue with couples, I think that actually going to the sex shop is actually a really great idea, because there's tons of products available for both you and your partner.
No matter how conservative, too.
Yes, and that means that if there is an issue going on in the bedroom, the both of you can work to find a common solution. But again, both partners have to be open. If the other partner, if you have a partner who's not open, or they're not making time, they're so busy that they're not even making time, or they're taking it as a joke and don't even want to treat it seriously, because it is a serious issue. You may think it's a joke now, but it's not going to be a joke, you know, when you discover that your partner has stepped out on you, or, you know, you're getting jealous of the fact that they play more with their toys than they play with you, you know? So, you know, those are things to consider. I think that it's perfectly healthy for a couple to go in together and try to explore. And you get to learn about each other's likes, dislikes, needs, wants, desires, all sorts of different things, you know?
And I think that's another lie that couples tell. Like, it's a lie of omission, right? By not having the conversation about what you like in a partnership. I think I'm a person who comes in, I have hard nose. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that ever. Don't ask. Don't sniff. Don't. I'm not doing it ever, 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 ever. And that's a hard no for me. But I can understand because that's how you end up in Oz's scenario, right? If something is,
Wait, what's my? Oh yeah,
yeah, where
you
homegirl's doing living her best life, and but it also goes back to what Ozzy's saying, like if you are in that scenario where you're double dipping, can you imagine the amount of mental calculating you got to do to
Good
remember
Lord.
where
A
Exhaustion.
lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Erasing text messages, turning off locations. That phone, nowadays lying is much harder.
Oh, it's so hard. Deception is just a lot. It's like a full-time job. Like, just don't bother. It's not even worth it. I mean,
you might as well tell
adults,
people.
like, just speak on it, figure it out, go to counseling, and if not, just keep it moving. That's my 2 cents. But I did want to move on to see if Miranda, do you have a scenario for us?
I do have a scenario, and it's based off of a real scenario that happened to me.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
So, you're at a party. You're drunk off your tits. Okay? And your friend is also over at this party, and she's having a good time, but she's brought her new boyfriend as well. At the party, he's expressing interest in you in his very subtle ways, maybe talking to the friends, asking about you, finding an opportunity to speak to you and flirt a little. And the next day you wake up and you realize, oh my goodness, that really happened. Your friends call you and tell you, yes, that really happened. He did try to kick it. And then you speak to the friend who you invited, who is the girlfriend of said boyfriend. And you need to decide, what do you tell her? Do you tell her that her new man was trying to kick it with you? Or do you keep quiet and hope that eventually the relationship will fizzle out?
Absolutely tell her. You absolutely tell her. You 1000% tell her. That's a new man. He can go. He's new, and as little time that he's been here, that's enough time for him to be around. He needs to go.
What if it's 3 months in? 3 months in, 6 months in even?
See, that gets a little bit more difficult. If he's not that new, it gets a little tough.
I'm like, hi, because this could backfire in many ways. You could tell her and she could be like, yo, you were stepping to him. You were drunk. People get caught in their feelings when they're catching a little bit of sex, right? You see, if I was at the party and I was super drunk, I would have entrapped him more. Knowing me, I would have been like, yeah.
Newsflash, you were at this party.
Oh, shit.
Both of you were at this party.
Oh, you were there too, Oz, so be quiet.
Hold on. Yo, but wait, was it any of our guys?
No.
Well, that's a good thing. And if they were, clearly they aren't our current dudes. So, bon voyage.
Oh man,
we were both at the party. Okay, we'll get back to that off air. It's difficult because you got to gauge your friend. That's what you got to do first. You got to gauge the friend and find out. Like, you gotta, you know what? I don't think I would say anything directly. I think I would drop some hints. Like, I don't know, boy. You need to watch your boy because I watched him like kicking it with other girls, including myself. Like, I'm trying to bring in the party at this rate, right?
But you're lying.
I am. Lying. I'm lying to her.
We're gonna lie.
I'm gonna lie, yeah, because I don't know if the friend is like sensitive. It's a new relationship. They were single for a long time. They're like, it depends.
They weren't single for a long time.
What do you mean?
Well, hold on. Let's just figure this out, right? Like, we definitely want to gauge the friend.
Yeah.
We definitely want to approach it with like just some gloves, right? Like, what do they call that? Whatever.
Kid gloves.
The saying,
kitty
right?
gloves?
Yeah, kitty gloves. Yes, we want to approach it with kitty gloves. We want to lay out the information in a way that's not super hurtful.
Yeah.
But we absolutely need to let her know. We need to let her know
in one way or another. And then, part of me feels like I would text the guy and be like, yo, stay in your lane, bro. Because
I was gonna say that too. Maybe you approach the guy and be like, listen, man, like I didn't feel comfortable with how things went down, and I need to know where you're at with
but
this.
Then, then the dude could turn it like, they get controlling sometimes, be like, I don't think you should hang out with that. I've had that.
True.
Right?
Yeah,
I've
but you know what?
Scenario.
Let him say that though. Let him say that for her to be like, yeah, you're not the one, because hopefully your friend, has enough of a right mind to understand that if a man is trying to control friendships of hers that were pre-existing to him.
I think at the end of the day, you can only control yourself and tell your truth in the way that honors the friendship. And if the friend can't hear it or can't receive it, then you said your piece. You almost have to let yourself off the hook on some levels. Like, I say what I have to say in the way I have to say it, and then you let it go. But I will tell you something. I would not be fucking with that dude and that girl. I would not be with them as a three. I would not. I would not be
in
with
their
them
company
as a
at all. I'll tell you what I actually did in that situation. I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. It was my college roommate at the time who told me the next day, he was actually here asking about you. Like, he was asking all kinds of questions about you. And I told him, hey, why don't you just ask her yourself? Like, she's in the next room. He's like, I can't really quite do that.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, I saw him in public, I think a few days later. I was on my way to school, and he happened to be standing in the same line waiting for the bus to take the same bus that would take us to university. And I just like looked around in every single direction except his, because I just did not want to involve myself in it in any way. Okay. They eventually did break up, but I never said a word. I did not get involved. I was ready to use the excuse that I was too drunk to even remember.
You know what, though? I understand that, because you know why? Because you're testing the strength of your friendship, and it can be tricky. It can be very tricky. I have a scenario.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
So this is a true story for me as well. When I was single, I was on Bumble, and I loved it, as you know from previous episodes. And I started kicking it with this dude that I was really enjoying the kick. Like, we were doing some really cool things together, cooking, going cooking classes, really cool things. We really clicked. So I understand there's algorithms of relationships but for me, there has to be this instant drawn, like an instant, like, I want to talk to you. There's something about you that's making me want. So I was really, really, we are 4 months in dating, really doing little cute date things. And then he's stuttering. He's married. So yeah, he's married. And so he's like, but it doesn't mean we can't kick it because I'm separated. And I was like, but hold on a minute. That means you lied for 4 months, right? You lied for 4 months. And the people around us knew he was lying, right? Ozzy even knows that dude. But Ozzy didn't know he was married, because Ozzy would have told me.
I need to know who this is off the air.
Right? So when I found out, I found that we had connected friends. And I approached them. I said, well, why didn't you tell me? And they were like, oh, it just wasn't our business. So this is an acquaintance. If the person that you know is in a situation and they're just an acquaintance, what do you do?
Well, maybe I would assume they knew. I would assume if I know that they know. I just would assume that. And I don't think I would make it my place to let it be known, just because my assumption is that they would know. That's just my assumption. Now, if they gave me the impression that they didn't know, and hold on. Wait. Back up. Other thing is, you said married but separated. See, for me, I hear what you're saying in terms of you should have been honest about it up front. There's, again, so many reasons why somebody would lie. Maybe that would have been, we go with him making that decision for you, but maybe out of fear of losing you and not getting to know you better, he did that. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying, again, me as an outsider, as the acquaintance, would I look at that and be like, this is wrong? Maybe not. If he's separated, or if he's,
is it a necessary
yes, lie? But I don't, as an acquaintance, I don't know about that lie. I just know that you guys are together and he's married and he's separated.
Right? I don't think that's as bad if he's separated, because I mean, you, again, yes, you definitely want to know up front whether he is separated or not. Because you want to give the other person the opportunity to decide whether they want to take a chance to date you when you're in the middle of your mess with your ex or soon to be ex or what have you. I met my partner when he was separated. The divorce was happening. I knew that was happening. It definitely was happening. And it hadn't been finalized until like maybe a few weeks in of us actually dating each other. So
I wasn't divorced when I was on Bumble. My divorce didn't finalize until a year after.
Yeah.
Divorces take time, but I was absolutely separated and I was not going back.
Separations take time. The rule in Quebec is that you basically have a year of separation before you can actually officially file for divorce.
Why is it the state's business how long you need? We won't get into that.
I know, but there's a lot of very twisted Catholic standards in there as well. But so yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is, if I know you, and again, you're my ride or die, I'm probably gonna come to you and tell you, girl, you know that he's actually was married, or do you know, like, if his divorce is final? I would encourage her not to end the relationship, but more just to ask more questions. So if you encourage them to get more details rather than telling them, girl, you don't know what's going on with this guy. He's separated. He's about to get a divorce, or he's lying to you and he's staying with his wife. Like, that's none of my business. I don't know anything about that. I don't know what his activities outside of your relationship are. But if I know that he's separated, or if he's married, or know him as being married, I'm going to go to you and I'm going to say, do you know if he's married? Like, he was married before?
That's the worst thing about it, Mar.
We have friends who know him, and I remember him being married to so-and-so. So maybe you might want to ask him, like, what's the status of that relationship? Maybe just plant some seeds there. So, you know.
That's the worst part about it. Like, it was so weird. Oz went to high school with the person, so it should click her memory.
I knew the moment you said it, because I remember
horrible. It wasn't horrible. What was weird is that we were all kicking it at the bar, all the high school friends, so they all knew except me.
Yeah, that sucks. You feel blindsided, but
right? And like, I'm some side chick. At least let me know I'm a side chick. Shit, I've already said this. I choose.
But you're not, though.
No,
you're
but
not
if but
see what I'm saying? But we all know how this turned out. I mean, you're married, not to him.
Not to him. But actually, what ended up ending us was the lie, that not telling me up front. I was a bit like, no, you should have taken your. And the worst thing is, when I did find out, I did roll the dice a bit, because I was like, okay, like you ladies are saying, like, okay, you separated. But I also set a new rule that ultimately led to the end. I said, well, if you're separated, then I'm not taken. And I continued
That's totally fair.
And I continued to multi-date, right? And homeboy couldn't take that. And then there was the day he argued on my birthday. So fun fact for everybody who knows me, if you ever ruin my birthday, it's completely over. There's no going back. There's no forgiveness. I can't help it. And so that ultimately what was the crack, because I felt like, oh, I think I would have preferred knowing upfront had you taken that gamble and explained the story. Because after homeboy explained the story, I was like, oh, I totally get it. But you lied for 4 months. That's a long time to be lying. And if you can lie about this, that's major. It made me think, what else are you lying about? And you didn't, and when I set the ground rule that, okay, you can, as long as you're, complicated, then I'm dating.
I'm a bit complicated too.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was so mature of you, Nesha, and I'm happy that you did what you did and you got out of that situation based on that lie. Good for you. I wish I had the foresight and had done the same. But anyway, I wanted to move away from relationships real quick, and I know we don't have too much time, but I do want to just throw out this scenario, and then you guys can follow up if you'd like.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
This is partially my experience, okay?
Okay.
Your boss is awesome. Your boss is the best boss. He lets you take off without, putting in PTO requests, and he gives you extra bonuses at work, and he does the most. You catch him embezzling money from the company. Ooh. Do you snitch?
Oh,
shit.
I don't think you have a choice. The day you become a whistleblower.
Yeah.
It depends who the boss is. Mark Zuckerberg? Bye, bitch. Somebody else, though? Yeesh.
I've been in similar scenarios where you've seen people like you work with bend the rules. And oh my God, I'm a bad human. I sit there and calculate the risk factors to myself.
That's why I laid it out that way.
I'm a bad human, and I'm an ethics teacher. I'm a bad human because it's situational ethics, right? Lying is about situational ethics.
Yes.
It's about, can you apply your value system at the same time in the scenario at all times? And the answer is, I don't think I can. My values they're flexible. I'm a human. Does it benefit me? There's a part of me that's super evil that would love to have something over the person. All these things, right? So,
right, you, Nesha.
I'm serious. I'm being mad honest, right? I'm like, shit. There is a part of me that's like, oh, I know something now. But you see, there's a bit of Robin Hood syndrome in me as well. Like, are you doing this because you helping out folks that are getting screwed by the system? You see, I'm a sucker for that.
Nah, they're pure selfish.
Okay, well, you don't know that, Mar. Okay.
Well, how would you?
You're embezzling money.
You don't know. Maybe you're embezzling because you don't have enough medical care. This is the United States. I don't know how they pay for Medicare over there.
Listen, John Q. Listen. Okay. So years ago, I studied fraud investigation. It was part of, some of the work that I was doing in my day job. And one of the departments of that course involves ethics, exactly like you were talking about, Nesha. And there is responsibility on your part if you discover that there's something shady going on in the company, including embezzlement. You have a duty, you have a fiduciary duty, depending on your role within the company, to unveil that information. And if it involves embezzling money, hell yeah, you have to say something.
Oh, I don't work in corporate.
But if you work, if it's somebody that and you're part of a smaller company, there's not that many heads, that are hired. It's a little more difficult. It's just like you really have to assess the situation, the person, how close you are with the boss. It's wonderful that he's giving you bonuses, but do you want to be implicated in it? Because how do you prove at what point you knew or you didn't know about the embezzlement? It's very easy to get tangled up in that sort of criminal activity.
Because it ultimately asks, it's about individual self-preservation versus the common good. The common good is stopping the embezzlement, but the individual preservation is about yourself. I quit my job. I'd find a new job because
that also is another solution. Just get the hell out of here.
Get out.
Yeah.
Get out. Because,
but I'm just saying, if that guy is, and he's stealing from you, he's stealing from the company, he's stealing from the employees. You're not getting paid in the future. Okay. Like, that's money that's coming out of your pocket, and you then have to go and find a new job. Bro, you're ruining everything.
Yeah, but then I watch murder mysteries where you confront the person and you end up dead. So, like, I don't know.
Hold on, nobody said confront him. Will you snitch?
I would, you know what though? Here's what I would
Snitch
do.
to
Knowing me,
the company owner, like, you know,
HR, the company,
HR,
whatever. Yeah.
knowing
Did you
me,
tell somebody?
I
The
will
FBI?
find out if there's another group of people who know, so we can band together, like, you know, strength in numbers.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
I also might, you know, put like an anonymous package together and leave it for HR, so that way there's no name or anything attached to it. If I
But
want to keep myself out of it,
But
you
I
know?
would be putting out my resume because I'd be like, yo,
That's
Get them out of here.
yeah.
I think I might do the anonymous route. I think I might do the anonymous route.
Because I've been in scenarios, not corporate like stuff, but other stuff in education where I look for the ally so that we can go up against the situation together as opposed to me alone. Because when there's more than one, it's harder to ignore. And I mean, I've gone up against my own system for their stupidities and their lies. And for example, they said that the N word was not in a book and it was all over in the book and they kept it in school and they lied about it. So I've gone out on my own, but there was a risk calculation for snitching on it. And now apparently I have a reputation. I could care less, but I would definitely try to find an ally and a new job. I wouldn't confront the person because I would be afraid that if you are brave enough to embezzle, you might be brave enough to discredit me and blame the embezzlement on me. So yeah, this is why I don't like corporate stuff. Ozzy's coming up with these situational ethics. Yeah.
That's tough. Do we have room for another scenario? One last one?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
All right. This involves family.
Oh, God.
So you're at a relative's house for the family barbecue. And let's say it's your cousin. Their badass 7-year-old is like, he's incredibly psychotic. But everyone is like, no, it's a child. You've got to be nice to him. So that same child ends up slamming a sliding glass door on your child. Let's say your child is like maybe 3-4 years old. Let's say the crazy kid slams the door on your child's finger on purpose. You know it's on purpose. He gets yelled at for a little bit, but you know the punishment really isn't harsh enough. And later that day, you're in a scenario where you're in a room alone with the child. What do you do?
I pinch him when nobody's looking. I'm kidding. I wouldn't put my hands on that kid. I would tell him about himself.
I'm wondering if I should be pleading the 13th. Because
Nesha, what do you do? Mother of all children. I'll bleep out the name of the high school.
Yeah, please.
I mean, y'all know I'm crazy. Like, I'm not down with it. Nah, you see, because there's a part of my brain that comes from Nova Scotia, and the moment you slammed the door on my kid's finger, it was a wrap. When you said that, the scenario, I blanked out right there because I could totally see, I could hear the cuss words. What the, you know, your kid ain't right. I already heard the words coming out of my mouth. You know, your kid's not right. And you got your kid.
You know, it's bad, especially if your kid, you know, when kids are really in pain and they cry, they let out this big sharp scream, and then there's like this long silence, and then it's like catching their breath. They really let it out afterwards. That's when you know the cry is serious.
Yeah, I think in the moment I'd have to tend to my child, and I would have, you know, honestly, I would have to tell someone, you need to move your kid because don't let me be alone with them. And as a parent, you need to go get your kid some help because, like, you can always tell when a kid's doing something intentional. And I know you're a kid, but you see, I can't, my logic says to me as a mom, I would lose my shit. I can't even give you a logical answer because I would be livid out of my mind. Livid. I mean, I've saw someone hit my nephew and I lost my goddamn mind. I lost my mind. So I don't even think we would get to the point where I'd be in the room with the kid, because me and my kid would be leaving. Everyone would get cussed out. I would tell you about your underwear, your kid's crazy mindset, and it would be a wrap. I'd be gone. And I don't even know. See, I'm one of those people who are, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm petty sometimes. Like, if you upset me, I'm petty. I can hold a grudge. I don't think I'd go back. Because if my mom said, "Oh, that kid's gonna be," nah, we ain't coming, because my kid's finger still hurt.
Yeah. If the family is not willing to acknowledge that demon child and his crazy behavior, we're not going to any more family barbecues. I'm with you. I would omit myself from that. But
I'm not gonna hang around that kid.
It would be hard for me to keep my temper.
See, the only thing that would shift me is if, like, I knew the kid had a condition or something, because then I would watch out more for my kid around that kid.
Mm-hmm. But still, it's the parent's responsibility to go take care of that and to, like, have, situations in place for gatherings and everything to not allow their child to harm other kids. It's still the parent's responsibility.
Yeah, I just know, like, yeah, it's
hard.
We'd be fighting.
How do you tell somebody that their kids are, like, really bad?
Oh, worst case scenario, I have a friend who has a child that we suspect has some learning delays. We try to bring it up. It didn't go well. So we just left it alone. Now we just lie by omission and pretend.
A lot of parents are in denial. Having a child with special needs, like, I've been told this even with the, with the various institutions that I've spoken to, when I've actively gone to look for, help or whatever for my child. Some people tell me it's really refreshing to see you actively look for it, because a lot of times it's teachers or people in situations that have to talk to the parents and say, hey, we noticed some, delinquencies or delays or whatever. And some parents really don't respond well to that.
Oh, no, they don't.
Especially if it's your first child. I can imagine, though, like, if it's your first child and you don't know what else to expect, and you might be incredibly sensitive or defensive to that, it's a tough conversation to have.
That's the worst scenario, because it's your first child. It might be your only child, and you're especially sensitive about that. Mm-hmm. You could be spoiling your child and not realize that you literally are like, you have Rosemary's Baby that you're raising, and
it's Chucky. You're raising Chucky.
I had that scenario last year. I had a child who, let's just say I survived, and it was so bad that when I saw that child at school events, I walked by like the child didn't exist. That's how bad, that's how much that child and their parent tortured me.
That's bad.
Collectively for 5 years, a bunch of us as teachers. And it's so sad when you reach those points. But that's the lie that parents tell themselves to raise their child. And that's a whole other level of lying. Like, I'm not saying that one of the things, I've not been a biological mom, but I understand that when a child is born, you put a lot of hopes in future. Mm-hmm. That's your child. That's your flesh and blood. And, in the future, this whole, I'm sure, Oz, this whole thing plays out when your child is born. Like, when they fall in love, when they graduate, when they get married, have children, when they get to take care of you, great. But then there's reality. And the worst thing that you could do is to lie to yourself and pass that lie on to your child about what's not real. So I feel like, part of lying is our inability to deal with the reality. And I'm the first one who says that there are days where I cannot deal with reality. So I create lies in my head to keep myself going. Mm-hmm. But, at least I'm an adult. My mother didn't create those lies of reality when I was young. But, and that's probably why they start lying at 2.
Right? Start young. Yeah. All right. One last thing, and this is specific. Miranda, when you went to the TED Talk that Nesha presented at, I want you to tell me what you would do in this scenario. Nesha's about to go on stage. She's 30 seconds away from her call time. And you're out there and you're wishing her luck. And you notice the biggest stain on her shirt. 30 seconds she has to get from you guys talking to on stage. Do you tell her that she has a stain on her shirt?
Yes.
No. Go on stage and be great. You're rocking it. I don't care. Now, if you're a man and your fly was open and your balls are hanging out, that's a different story.
Oh, you got something in your teeth.
Yes. Yeah. No, even in the teeth. It's a presentation on stage, so no one will see it up close.
I would tell you about your teeth, Nesha. You can rely on me to tell you about your teeth.
I'm just saying, if your fly is open or your titty's hanging out for whatever reason, it should not be hanging out. But if it is,
no Janet
I'm gonna tell
moments.
you, those organs should not be visible to the public.
I hear that. But I will say on a lighter note, it does seem to get easier to be honest as you get older.
Yes, I agree.
Right? I guess there's more like you find like your foundational friends, you start growing together. Yeah, I'm really happy that I'm coming out of that phase where I'm like, yeah, you look great, but
you're also not so insecure about the reaction, right?
Yeah.
Like we know who we are. We're comfortable with ourselves. Listen, if you're going to hate me because I'm telling you, about whatever, then it is what it is.
And we've also learned our frequencies of truth, right? Like how to present something to someone. So I suppose the bottom line is, as much as lying takes practice, telling the truth takes practice, and understanding the frequency of how the recipient, learning. And I suppose honesty also involves caring. Like you want to tell the person the truth because you care. You need to understand their frequency. And so
you might also want to stick it where it hurts too.
Yeah, maybe.
And oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive, right? We don't want to be entangled in that shit. Let's try to keep it real, ladies and gentlemen.
Keep it messy but real.
And we will, right? On Messy Truths, we'll be giving it to you like it is.
Absolutely. So I gotta tell you, we're going to have an upcoming top 10 show, another one. It's about to be another top 10 show. And really looking forward to that. And I've been racking my brain over it for like the last few days since we talked about it in the group chat. Oh man, it's intense. So
Jill Scott's on my list. I'm good.
Listeners, be ready for that. Be ready for our upcoming top 10 episode. And we just want to thank you for being a part of this episode and listening into Messy Truths. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And don't forget to also subscribe to your favorite streaming platform. We release episodes every Thursday. So don't miss us.
Please.
All right,
guys.
Peace.
Take care, guys.
Peace.